what I feel is it should not be that if you are a member of parliament, if you're a member of this society, if you're a citizen of St. Martin, and you do not necessarily agree with what the Dutch is doing, that you immediately become a target. I can speak from personal references. My brother was arrested in a human smuggling case. As such, that case is still going on. We could name a lot of people whose cases are still going on in St. Martin because they have an agenda. It is clear that an agenda was established for them to come to St. Martin. We've heard reports from people where they even went as far as saying there is a list that they have of families and people to check when they come to St. Martin. And what they're doing is actually executing that list. No. I want to know where the control of the Minister of Justice stands as it relates to this, and how far does the prosecutor's office and that whole regime with their Gestapo tactics go, while we have to be held accountable to the people, and the Council of Ministers have to be held accountable to the members of Parliament. Who are they held accountable to? And who they are held accountable to is not the Parliament of St. Martin. I'm going to give you an example. If you want to prosecute a member of Parliament in St. Martin, it has to go to the joint courts for approval. But if you want to prosecute a member of the second chamber, it has to be decided by the second chamber itself. So it goes to show that the very equality that you're talking about, there's inequality. And I want to know what is the crux of that matter. Why is it that we claim to be in a kingdom, we claim to be part of something that we're equal partners, but still the actual practicality and the execution of the laws are not necessarily shown where we are practical partners. I will give you an example. This parliament was elected, and the Minister of Interior, Minister Knops, has visited St. Martin, I believe, 3 times already. Since he has been appointed as minister, he has never met with Parliament. He has never met with the Parliament of St. Martin. These kind of things go to show exactly that sentiment, that feeling, how they feel about us. And it's a contentious relationship between St. Martin and the Dutch. And over my years in Parliament and over my years in government, I've heard many people say, oh, we are going to try to make the relationship with the Dutch better. But to make a relationship better, there's going to have to be some willingness on that side to want to make it better. And I'm going to give you an example. I understood that, for example, the position at the prison has now been open for a new director of the prison. I understand that 10 people have applied, and those 10 people are people that are coming from Holland. What are you seeing is strategically what is happening is their people are being put in positions that will ultimately be the positions that we will have to go to and beg like dogs, for the lack of a better word. What is going to be next? The head of the police, Carl John, is going to make a mistake, as we saw what happened with Derek Holiday, and then what happened, he's going to be gone, and then the director of the police force is going to be a Dutchman. Where does it stop? And by us not agreeing and seeing what is happening, I don't care if you are made a target, that is fine. We must be prepared to go through whatever it is we have to go through. But where does it stop? Where does it stop? And who do we use as our defense against these things? You know, today we can look back, the former Minister of Justice, Roland Duncan, who adamantly put down his foot for their overreaching. Basically, he was deemed corrupt. He was deemed corrupt in his 10 years Minister of Justice, but as soon as he left office, then there was nothing else to be said about Minister Duncan. So it goes to show that they're pushing their agenda, and we are seeing it happen over and over and over and over again. And that was the reason, I'm sure the march was organized. That was the reason a petition was presented. And moreover than that, the question is, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? What are you prepared, Minister of Justice, to do about this? Because, again, how long can you have someone waiting on a decision for a court case? I want to see, for example, I have not seen yet where a member of the community have been prosecuted by this judicial branch, and based on their investigation, that they come out and say, you know, based on our investigation, because an investigation can do one or two things. It can condemn somebody, or it could vindicate them. But no one has ever been vindicated. And I'm going based on strictly numbers. I saw where just to put a criminal record on somebody, they've been sentenced to 2 days in jail. 2 days, just so they have a condemnation from the court. I do not believe that this is fair.
Connecting you.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
In the Netherlands, the second chamber can't be investigated unless the second chamber says, because then if you have that kind of immunity, you can say whatever you want in Parliament, or in that case in the second chamber, and also you have no feeling of recourse because nobody is going to come back at you. Members of Parliament have stated quite correctly before, and even within the community, if you scream, if you shout, or you go against, you immediately become a target. And you know, when I'm looking at it, I don't hear those that like to get in the media say that there is a big difference between the Parliament of St. Martin and the Parliament in the Netherlands. And I think that is why in the second chamber, again I say it, is so vocal about everything that they can, because basically they can scream about bloody murder and not be charged with it. It's a very interesting point that is coming. If you go back, and I'll go to how St. Martin has changed, and again, going over the different issues. In '95, I can remember being part and being elected, and then also then appointed. The biggest issue in St. Martin then for locals to take any relevant position in government was the issue that you had to have the education to get into, say, SG position or the director of finance or the director of tourism or the director of ROMI or whatever, you had to have the right education. And usually, at that time, the St. Martiners didn't have the qualifications that were up to par at that time. So what we had to do, we had to bring in technical assistance because, again, at that time too, St. Martin did not comply with transparency, but we had a different word for it at that time. And, it's always just a difference of wordings. Now today, the St. Martin has the education, has the experience, but now what we do, we add in a new dimension to this, and it's called screening. So what is the screening? The screening is done by people that nobody knows because they have to be secretive. World War II again. The screening goes is fact that, all right, you are known to this one, so if you are known to this one is under investigation, well, you are guilty by association, so you can get into the job. And they have different levels of screening for this. So we screen now. I've heard about the one for screening cabinet members of the minister. I mean, going so far as to telling me that the driver of a minister has to be screened. I mean, again, I will say it, there must be nuclear weapons in our salt pond, because the level of screening and the level of conditions that we have to go through, then, I mean, somebody must have a finger on a button to launch nuclear war in this world, because I can't see what is in that government building that would be considered so classified that we have to go through this screening process for a population so small. And what we're doing now is, I mean, by investigating, locking up people, by the time we come out, nobody can get a job in the country, nobody can get loans in their country, nobody can do anything in their country, and we are basically just pushing our own local people more and more out. And at the same time, we cannot go nowhere else but stay home right here. And then the question is, but who are we doing all of this for? It's and they can continue with everybody is corrupt and everything as well, but somebody's got to be able to be left behind to rudder the ship. St. Martin has been stated, and I think in even some of the magazines in the Netherlands, what a resilient country we have in St. Martin. And again, I will say this, it's not because of the help from this 550 million euros. In the beginning, after the hurricane, with the military and everybody being involved, there was, in my opinion, there was a lot of help going on there. But after that, it became one of the most bureaucratic positions ever. And it is not helping the people. And again, I say it, if they don't trust the government or the politicians of St. Martin, then write the checks direct and tell us directly this is what you're willing to spend. But don't tell the population, yes, this money is for you, we want to help you. But when the government does bring a plan of action to you, then you say, well, no, now we have to do a study. There has been nothing that I can say that the World Bank has written and the Dutch government that has come up with that is earth-shattering in any of the reports that had been brought forward to Parliament or have brought forward to the population. It has been one of the greatest PR campaigns I have ever seen, because everyone in the Netherlands believes that we have gotten this 550 million. The only thing that I can tell you that St. Martin has gotten is this famous 10 million euros that is being used every year to investigate everyone, and in particular politicians, and especially members of Parliament seem to be the main focus of that 10 million euros. And again, probably the only thing that you're seeing now is the huisvesting kosten that continue here, because all of them have beautiful areas to live, and everybody is all very happy, and that because they're able to live in our beautiful country, go back and after their tour of duty is up here, and then come back and then they open up a business on St. Martin. So it is also a way of making sure you can now come back to St. Martin and again help to populate our beautiful island with even more. Madam Chair, I will ask just one more question. After 10-10-10, the laws that were supposed to be, are implemented were also to be evaluated. Has that been done in the Ministry of Justice? And in particular, these of the OM and all of the Gestapo ways that they have been doing on St. Martin, the question is, have they and the laws that they have that were put forward to get us the position that we wanted today, have they been evaluated? And if so, when will those evaluations be made public for discussions within Parliament?
Hey ma, how you doing? You busy?
I hear, just paying some bills, taking care of business, you know what it is?
I know, you're doing your online banking.
I don't have to stand in those long lines to pay bills. I can transfer when I want. I can check my account wherever. It's like the bank open 24/7. I even here checking the statement right now as we're talking. How's Miami?
Well, that's why I'm calling. I'm finishing up a few songs now, but I'm afraid that studio time might be more than I thought. And I was wondering if I could get some help with some funds, and I could pay you back as soon as I get back to St. Martin.
Let me check my account. How much you need?
I think 500 should be enough.
I can transfer it to you while online. Direct from me to you. No problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma. I'll get online with Viv now.
Alright, darling. You know who you're for?
I need to know who you're for.
Contact WIB today for your complete personal online banking experience. Available for all mobile devices. The Wynwood Islands Bank, now your online banking partner in progress.
Of the Wynwood Island Chamber of Labor Unions and also president of the Wynwood Islands Teachers Union. From after the hurricane, we have been very, how you would say, active in trying to, in different platforms, and trying to get the information together as to the state and the status of our members, in particular the teachers, and in general the workers on St. Martin. We have noticed that one of the grave infringements on the workers' rights was the fact that after the hurricane, each and every employer felt that they should apply the labor laws as they feel it was fit. So we thought as labor unions that we should have shown that type of, disrespect to the workers, and St. Martin did what they had to do in cleaning up the debris, trying to get St. Martin back open again for business, and that was then branded as St. Martin Strong. And my question was, St. Martin was strong? Yes, really? But who were the ones that put their hands together to make St. Martin strong? Again, to do the cleaning up, it was the hands of the workers. So, therefore, as a chamber, we also embarked on that type of promotion, showing that St. Martin workers are strong. There were a number of challenges that the workers, especially in hospitality field, in the field of hospitality and tourism, they were faced with, because a number of hotels, and I don't know if the count is correct, but I saw in some data that it's 32 hotels were really damaged very severely. And we also had main damage to our tourism industry, our port of entrance, let's say the harbor, and the facility of the airport was a total devastation also. So in that sense, they were able to get the cruise industry up and running, and the word out, St. Martin strong, should actually reflect that St. Martin is open for business. But how has it been dealt with the workers? So as a trade union organization, we organized starting from the December the 15th, our first march in solidarity with the workers, a number of workers that were displaced, a number of workers that had no income, a number of workers that lost all their belongings, personal belongings. They had a lot of damages to their homes. So when you as a person have all these damage and still our country could be branded as St. Martin strong, I truly and definitely believe it is the workers, mentally, physically, and spiritually, that were strong. St. Martin workers strong is also the slogan that we continued with all through the Labor Day program, and basically that is the word that we wanted to spread as a chamber. While spreading that word, we also continued in the setting, and meetings was reconvened, because you know that even the government building was not spared from the hands of the hurricane. So a number of the levels were gone, and the tripartite committee, which is a committee in which you have representatives of the employers organization, the government labor office, VSR, with the minister as the Honorable Minister Emil Lee, and you have the workers organization represented in that in the form of WICLU's body. We have a number of persons from the St. Martin Communication Union, for some persons from Waiful Asewi, and also from the Windward Islands Civil Servants Union and the Windward Islands Teachers Union represented on that platform. And in that sense, the hurricane triggered also a review of this labor code. The St. Martin Labor Code is now being revisited. We could see with our naked eyes some of the things that were lacking, because, for example, an unemployment fund did not exist, and it still doesn't exist based on legislation.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
So economic development, social development, and environmental conservation are not mutually exclusive. So it's not as if you can exclude one and then have sustainable development. You have to include all three of these pillars to really consider the island or the country sustainably developed or sustainably developing. So I'm going to go through a couple of examples about what it means to actually put the focus on sustainable development, including sustainable social development, economic development, and of course, the central pillar, according to me, sustainable environmental development. So sustainable economy and environment 101, the marine protected area, the St. Martin Man of Washoe Marine Park. Just a little bit of a background. Since 1997, when I was not manager then, but in Melissa's class, the main goal of the Nature Foundation was to establish a marine protected area. Because of issues related to, be politically correct, there's some people looking at me, because of issues related to poor political buy-in, insufficient stakeholder consultation, etc., we were unable to establish the marine park until 2010. One of the first things that we did in 2010 was we conducted an ecological baseline study. So we actually went out there, did the research in the water to determine which areas on the island had the highest level of biodiversity. So we counted fish, we counted coral, we counted conch and lobster, and we put all of that together into a report. The other thing that we did an economic valuation study of the ecosystem. The popular saying, money talks and something else walks. We realized that, and we tried to apply a dollar figure to the ecosystem. So we actually went out there, did stakeholder consultations, and we put a dollar figure on the resource, $50 million per year that the resource provides to the economy of the island in terms of natural protection from storm surge during a hurricane, in terms of visitors coming to dive on the coral reefs, in terms of coral providing sand for the beaches, etc., etc. So with that, we were able to go to government, and government approved the establishment of the marine park in 2010.